Hey beautiful people, it's a happy new year to you all, and I wish you nothing but blessings and good luck in your new chess journey. So to begin this wonderful year, I present to you 5 little traps that you can try out to destroy all your opponents on f7. Once again, if you see any trap that I presented in the past, just know that I want to add some more details to it. Trap number 1, so you begin with e4, then your opponent plays d5, the Scandinavian defense. What do? Well, just go ahead and take. After queen takes, you simply attack that queen one more time, forcing black to think. The top played move in the Lichess database is queen d8, followed by queen a5, which is the main area of my interest. Well, after this, if you want to destroy your opponent very quickly, I propose you play the Leonard Gambit with pawn to b4, letting black to take that pawn, and then you don't go rook b1 like what everyone does. The move, ladies and gentlemen, is knight b5. Don't worry, I got you covered. I'm going to add some nuances to this and show you how you can get out of trouble if things don't go your way. So after knight b5, to prevent knight takes c7, black players play queen a5. So this is when you can go bishop c4, targeting the weak f7 pawn, and surprisingly enough, the top played move is pawn to c6 in the Lichess database, which is a losing mistake because of bishop takes f7 check. King takes f7 is the top played move, which can also be met with queen h5 check, and since black cannot block this check with his elbow, g6 is played, after which you surprise your opponents with this beautiful move, knight d6 check, sacrificing your knight in order to win black's queen on a5. Done. But going back a few moves, after sacrificing your light squared bishop, what if black doesn't take and let's say goes king d8? Well, the best you can do is just to humble your nerves. There's no any trap here, just retreat your knight back to c3, and if something like knight f6, while realizing that your bishop is about to be trapped, you just rescue it. And let's say bishop g4 by black, the top played move, well, you can simply go bishop e2. By the way, anything is playable, even knight to f3 is okay, or pawn to f3, that's fine, but bishop e2, you just want to oversimplify the game. The secret is just to continue playing normal chess. Maybe your opponent will blunder someday. Your opponent is not going to castle long or short. But what if black doesn't even accept your Leonard Gambit? After e4, d5, ed, queen takes, knight c3, queen a5, b4, queen takes, knight b5, queen a5, and then after you play bishop c4, black does not play pawn to c6, but rather goes knight f6. Guys, you need to be very careful whenever you see this move, knight to f6 in the Leonard Gambit. For example, if you carelessly take on f7, black can gladly take back, and now you don't have queen h5 check followed by knight d6 to win black's queen on a5. Bingo. So what do you do if black plays knight to f6? Well, the best I recommend is just to go knight to f3, and after something like s6 or the top played move pawn to c6, you can just retreat your knight back to c3. And yeah, at human level, this is playable, guys, since you are ahead in development, right? And there's even a funny line here, which you can try after bishop g4, the top played move, where you play rook b1 first, attacking this pawn. If pawn to b5 is played, counter-attacking your bishop in a defensive way, guess what? Again, you can just go ahead and sack your bishop on f7, because after king takes, you can simply go knight e5 check. And on the next move, you are going to get back your piece, and this is proven to be advantageous for white. Still in the knight f6 line, which prevents queen h5 check. And this, the other dirty trick that you can try in bullet and blitz to win your games very fast. I mean, instead of going knight to f3, is queen e2. Not objectively the best, but this can be very deadly in rapid blitz or bullet chess. For example, you can see the top played move is pawn to c6 in the Lichess database. So after this, the whole idea is to go knight d6 check, since this pawn is pinned to the king and it can't take your knight, so black has to move. If king d8, you have knight takes f7 check, and on the next move you're going to win the rook. If black plays king d7 instead of king d8, well, you still have knight takes f7. What else? Because you just want to win that rook. Let's say rook g8, you can just play knight e5 check, and still on the next move you're going to grab that rook. Let's say knight takes, and now you go knight c4, and also preparing to develop your bishop. So this works mostly in bullet, blitz, and rapid. The reason why it can't work in standard chess or classical chess is that after queen e2, instead of pawn to c6, black can play pawn to s6. To prevent this, and you need to go back to the drawing board, black here has more initiative. Anyways, even after this, just go knight d4. After pawn to b5, there's no sack here, right? So just retreat your bishop back to b3. And if pawn to c5, the top played move, here you can just go queen f3, attacking this rook. Rook s7 is the top played move, after which you go knight c6, triple attacking 3 of black's pieces. And after knight takes c6, you go queen takes c6 check, bishop d7, and you simply grab that pawn which wanted to trap your bishop. All in all, the Leonard Gambit is appropriate for rapid, blitz, and bullet. Still part of chess, right? And still part of the World Chess Championship. So nothing dubious about this, right? Trap number 2, against the perk or the pierce defense. So you start with e4, your opponent plays d6, trying to avoid your tennis on gambit, your Leonard trap, and also your Scotch gambit traps. Well, even against this, there's a way in which you can punish black by taking on f7. So you just go d4, and once they play knight to f6, it's high time you go bishop c4, sacrificing your pawn on e4 for free. And see what people play on leeches. Knight takes e4, the top played move. Bishop takes f7 now becomes a possibility, because after king takes, you have queen h5 check. Once again, even though you're not winning the queen, as in the Leonard Gambit, at least you're going to walk away with a knight. Now, yes, I understand this is still equal according to Stockfish, but at human level, someone may be out of his prep. Here, like the king is not that safe, you're about to push h4 and h5, destroy the king side. But most importantly, you first of all develop your minor pieces like this, your knight, and probably you castle long in the long run. So the main goal is just to make black lose his right to castle, and also just taking him out of his prep. This reminds me of trap number 3, which I covered briefly in the past. That happens in the Alekhines defense, where you start with e4, then black plays knight to f6. Just pretend for a second as if you lack patience and pre-move bishop c4. The idea is still the same. After knight takes, you just want to make black lose his right to castle, take him out of his prep, go queen h5 check. And after pawn to g6, you go queen d5 check. After e6, you just get back your piece. And the strategy is very simple. h4, h5 to destroy black's king side. After developing your knight, pawn to d4, then bishop g5, knight c3. In the near future, you're just going to castle long. This is how you play, especially if you don't know much theory. You just want to play freestyle chess to confuse the enemy. That was trap number 3. And so what if black doesn't take your e4 pawn in the Alekhines defense after bishop c4? For example, let's say black just ignores you and play pawn to e5, turning this into the bishop's opening. Well, what I like doing in this position, especially in rapid, blitz, and bullet, is just to go knight f3, inviting black to take on e4, so that I can invite them to take my queen's knight as well, and intentionally open up the d file for my queen. And yes, what you're looking at is the reverse Stafford Gambit, which is trap number 4. See, the top played move is pawn to d6, which is wrong. According to Stockfish, the correct move here is pawn to f6, but who is going to see this? People play pawn to d6, which is a losing mistake because of knight g5, targeting the weak f7 pawn once again. And if black is not careful, this may even end very quickly like this. By the way, queen d7 doesn't help because of queen takes b7, and after queen c6, you just go queen c8 check. Black's king cannot escape from Sobibu, so after king e7, you just mate your opponent like this, which is a checkmate in 2. In fact, after pawn to d6, there's a fancy way of winning your opponent's queen right away. If you don't want to go knight g5, speaking of the f7 sacrifice, even in this position, you can just grab the e5 pawn. That's okay. That's entirely okay, because you want to surprise your opponent, right? After de, which is the top played move, you're warm and dry to sacrifice your bishop on f7 once again with check. Since you know after king takes, you're going to win black's queen on d8 just like that. If that doesn't happen, let's say black plays king e7, well, you have bishop g5 check, and black's king can't escape from Sobibo, so they'll have to take the light squared bishop, after which you go queen takes d8. So if pawn to d6 is a blunder in our reverse Stafford Gambit, what if black plays the correct move, pawn to f6? See, what people play here is knight h4, intending to go queen h5 check, but I find this to be predictable, which is why I first of all prefer to go castle short, because anyways knight h4 is still on the plate. But again, you're going to see most of your opponents playing pawn to d6, trying to create this little pyramid and also to free up the light squared bishop. I mean, who knows? But you know what? In this line, I don't even need my knight. Casper is crazy. What is he doing? Well, I just don't need my knights in the reverse Stafford gambit. All I want is just to checkmate my opponent in the most romantic way. Rook e1 check, they play bishop e7 to cover their shame, and then instead of going queen h5 check, I just go ahead and sacrifice my dark squared bishop because I don't need it either. The idea is just to take the free pawn on g7 or the rook. But if black takes, I want to go queen h5 check. Black can't play king f8, there is mate in 1. So if they go king d7, I know that bishop d6 check leads to a draw. So I play queen f5 check so that if king c6, I can go queen b5 checkmate. But if they go back, since I don't even wish to remain with any piece, I just go ahead and sacrifice my rook. If king takes e7, I have rook e1 check once again, and if king f8 only move, I just go queen h5, intending to mate black like this. So they end up sacrificing their queen, after which I just go ahead and take that. But instead of king takes, let's say black takes with a queen. I mean, after this rook sacrifice, let's say queen takes e7. Well, after this, I just go queen takes c8 check. Again, black's king can't escape from Sobibo, so queen d8 is the only move. After which I go rook e1 check. And on the next move, here is how I deliver a beautiful checkmate, starting with king g7. Then guess what? I just go ahead and sacrifice my queen as well because I don't need it. I literally don't need to have any pieces in this reverse Stafford gambit. If king takes, there's a mate in 2 which goes like this. How beautiful was that? Last trap. This one happens in the Petrov defense, and it's one trap that you can even try in classical games or standard OTB tournament games. Beginning with e4, after e5, you go knight f3, and after knight to f6, at this point you don't know what to do. You just take the e5 pawn. Russian players know their theory very well. In this line, they play pawn to d6. But guess what? If you are feeling lazy to play this game and just want to get a quick draw or take your opponent out of his prep, just go knight takes f7, sacrificing your knight once again. This has been played at the top level, not a dubious opening. After king takes, you just go pawn to d4. Just to show you what is happening here, there is no knight takes e4 once again due to queen h5 check. Same stuff after pawn to g6, you go queen d5 check and get back your piece. But after you go pawn to d4, what if black pins your e4 pawn to the king? Well, you just go knight c3 once again, knowing that there is no knight takes e4 due to queen h5 check again. Same trap, same mistake. Now, if you want to learn more about this trap, I'd advise that you put these lines on Stockfish and analyze them very well. All my courses have been on promotion since the beginning of December 2023, even up to now. So take advantage of this New Year promotion and get my courses as a way of supporting this channel and also improving your gameplay. Also follow me on Patreon, where I post other long form videos that I can't post on YouTube, as well as other detailed studies. And don't forget to subscribe. It's a new year. We need new subscribers and new likes. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day and Happy New Year. Bye bye.